Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. And today, I'm still continuing my Disney movie marathon by, of course, talking about something Disney related. When it comes to movies or whatever, I guess you can say. I guess, to be more specific, it's in regards of the princess movies, of course, one of their CGI animated movies, which I already reviewed, so this is not going to be another review, of course. I guess it's more in regards of Frozen 2, because of the fact that it became one of the highest grossing animated sequels of the year. And pretty much what's going on here, yes, fans are still in talks of Frozen 3. But personally speaking, I don't think it should be a third part, just leave it alone. But yeah, the first two installments were highly successful. But fans are still waiting for a third installment. And of course, nobody from Disney actually confirmed a third movie. The fans have not given hope up for this, of course. And yes, I've seen this everywhere in Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, you name it. It's all over, or even if YouTube as well. A lot of people want a third installment. Um, but anyway, the director and writer Jennifer Lee earlier told Digital Spy that the story of Frozen 2 had come to a close. However, she did feel that the same way when it came to the first installment. The first film was completed. So does this mean that could be a chance for a third movie? Uh, maybe, but still, I mean, there's ways it could continue. There's some ways it could, of course, continue in some sort of matter, of course, I guess. But I mean, and maybe in some ways, it just leave it. She'll leave it alone because I don't really see any other kind of way they could just continue it. I mean, yes, of course, you could do something with Hans, of course, or they want to do it from Weasel Town. When I say Hans, I mean more of his brothers, I guess. There's do something with that. I don't know. But maybe it's best to just leave it alone because when it comes to third installments, there's often the third part curse. The third part curse tends to be from any franchise. It looks like from any genre, from any franchise, is no immune to this kind of a thing, of course. Because when it comes to third party films, it's just a disaster in a lot of ways. Proves to be really awful. So my hopes for that isn't exactly. So if a third installment is in the works, I'm probably thinking there's a good chance there might be some issues in the way because how some people would act. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Karens. You know who I'm talking about. Ugh. There's always gonna be somebody complaining about it. It just seems like a lot of nowadays, a lot of the issue these days within sequels seem to want to cater to a certain group or whatever, because otherwise they're not gonna want to watch it. I guess it's usually have been that way to too many people. I guess you can say wanting so many things, but especially nowadays, it's worse due to maybe social media. People, since people can communicate with a lot of people simultaneously, it just seems like, of course, films aren't the only things who suffer from this, of course. This can apply for video games, or movies, and whatnot, no matter what happens. But even if a film's critically acclaimed, like the first film, you get a lot of hate, which the first Frozen did. I mean, you can't please everybody with every single game or movie anymore, even if it's good. I guess for the individual, from that, you kind of learn to enjoy it for yourself from it. So yeah, a lot of these, I guess you're gonna say these Karens would be flooding uh, the like YouTube or whatever and get offended by racism. I mean, it's not even dare or use religion to attack certain movies like certain pastors had done with the first Frozen film, which they still do to this very day when you think about it. My personally speaking, I don't care if someone um, gets offended. People, of course, will judge me without even knowing me and whatnot. Anyway, when you think about it, so there'll be plenty of groups, I guess you would say, are trying to control each other and then control uh, the world at the same time. And for crying out loud, It can be really dense when you think about it. I can't enjoy something for what it is, and just judge it for what it's not. So yeah, my point being, okay, if they actually do a Frozen 3, what would be the target audience for this? Of course. And I think that might be an issue because I know a lot of people would read way too much into it, of course. Yeah, it was actually believed that Elsa's blue dress was actually too suggestive. Yeah, seriously. What the hell? Okay. But yeah, this kind of thing is what I'm talking about, folks. How can, in which way the audience would respond? How can they react to certain things? Even if the movie's good, you might take stuff out of context, is what I'm saying. That Elsa has powers became pretty much a staple of these kind of movies, which is fine. However, even that got some controversy among Christians. Yeah, no, seriously. Out of all things. Because they felt that the fact that she has powers, oh, you're trying to say that she's more powerful than God? Really? Yeah, this is the kind of thing I'm talking about, folks. It just makes me wonder, should we really do this kind of a thing? I mean, I'm not gonna make the entire video on this specifically, but it just like the reception from the audiences is what I'm saying, folks. So anyway, so pretty much like I was asking earlier, should there really be a part 3? And like I asked, what are they gonna do? I mean, the whole thing with the guy from Weasel Town, make him have a return, I guess, or the Hans brothers have them do something. I have no idea. I mean, they explored the origin of Elsa's powers in part 2, so I don't know what they're gonna do for part 3. I mean, story wise, how can they push the narrative forward without stepping backward? Like I was saying earlier, when it comes to part threes, most of the time, not always, most of the time, they're utter garbage. Spider-Man 3 wasn't all that great, really. Neither was Terminator 3. So yeah, there's definitely plenty of lackluster third part in franchises. So yeah, there's like a nearly endless pool of these. So yeah, if there was a swimming pool of bad part threes, it would be a big pool. Oh boy. Because there's plenty, and I do mean plenty, less than stellar 30 inches of a series. There's gonna be a variety of reasons, of course. Uh, no agreements on anything really. Got too cocky, or maybe they didn't care. Uh, Creative differences. I don't know. There could be the number of reasons could obviously vary as to why third parts are bad. There's a few exceptions, of course. There were some exceptions to this rule, obviously. For example, Dragon Age Inquisition was actually pretty good. Most of the reviews were actually positive, really. And I did like the Dark Knight Rises. It was actually a pretty good conclusion. That was a hard follow up, I guess you would say. Gamma 3. That was actually pretty good. That was really, really good. So, and I mean, there's some other films like this. I could use an example, but you get the picture here. So, yeah. When it comes to third part, would it be the conclusion of the movie of Frozen 3? Would this be the conclusion? And I don't think I can say that because it's not like they were set out to make a part 2 to begin with. Even they admitted themselves that it was just going to be originally a standalone picture. But it was a success and they found a way to, make a second movie. And which, yes, did feel out of the blue because it was not planned whatsoever. So you can't really say a conclusion to a series of films when it was never planned to begin with. And that in itself can be providing a problem when you think about it. And I mean, for Frozen 2, sure, they made it work, in the first movie, they never explained why Elsa has the power but not the sister. So okay, that came off like a plot hole. So they thought they would use said plot hole to use as a setup to a sequel. So okay, now it makes more sense. You couldn't consider that as an accidental sequel hook, I guess you would say. I guess it was totally unintentional, I suppose. But okay. What can they use for the third movie, as I was saying earlier? I don't know. I really do not know. I have no clue whatsoever. How can they expand the universe of this kind of a thing? You can't just make something completely random out of the blue for its own sake. And when it comes to mostly third parts of these kinds of movies, it's just done just to do it, just for its own sake. Usually, when it comes to these types of movies, two parts is just enough. But of course, people get greedy and want to see more and more and more, just for the money. And fans are demanding for a third movie. But again, what can they possibly do? Going into what I was saying earlier, people keep suggesting that Elsa could have a relationship. I'm over here thinking, why? What's the purpose of this? I think it's a little too late for this kind of a thing for her to have a relationship, really. And I mean, there's been a bunch of stuff, a lot of stories they've worked on before. They worked on some stories before, like as in books, that take place in between the movies and whatever. And they made some hypothetical stories and whatnot. So it's already too much. Already too much to the point where it's going to come out of the blue when you think about it. Okay, no pun intended. It's going to come out of nowhere. Literally out of nowhere. What the hell? If they're going to give her a relationship. So, I don't know how they're going to make it work. If they're going to actually give her a relationship, I don't know how that's going to work. Regardless of her sexual orientation, okay, folks? It doesn't matter who she hooks up with. How are they going to make that work? Boy, girl, or whatever. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the gender of the partner. I still not know how they're going to make it work, really. But yeah, it just I'm sure there's a way. I guess I'm pretty sure there could be a way. But should there really be a way? I don't. I mean, I'm not really giving a straight answer, really. No pun intended, but still. Yeah, like I said, folks, there's some exceptions to the rule when it comes to third parts. Oh boy. Alright, looks like I just got a few minutes left in this thing, so let me just wrap things up, folks. I mean, maybe they could do something with Kristoff. I don't see what they're gonna do with that, but explore his family tree. But okay, that kind of comes off like a step backwards because, um, what's there to explore really? You're supposed to make the adventure seem grander and more crazier. I don't see how you can do that with Kristoff really. And let me see here. I have no idea really at all. You don't want to make it come off like you're desperate just to make money, and yeah, that's a big no-no. Usually that's the case. They're just making sequels just for that alone, not to expand the story. And when you make stories, you're supposed to expand the overall universe in which you have created in one way or another. Make this explore the story in one method or another. I guess you want to say. So explore the parents' backstory. I guess maybe make the parents of Elsa and Anna make the main focus. And that might seem kind of pointless right there because you don't want to make it seem like a complete rehash of the second movie. Usually with sequels, that's what they are, just rehashes of what was already done. So that may be not the best answer to do really, like at all. And I don't know, that wouldn't make much sense. I guess you can say when you think about it. So yeah. I know in the second movie they introduced some of the natives. Maybe you could do something with that. I don't know. There's not much you can go on really. I mean, you can add to it, I guess, with the whole enchanted forest. But again, it's just gonna come off. You're gonna retread what you already did, which of course is something you should avoid. So yeah, there's not really much to work on. Is what I'm saying overall, really, for a third movie. So they probably should just leave it alone. I guess you can say. So yeah. Now, some people might say Olaf. No, don't make Olaf the main character, especially for a big feature. A short animated movie, maybe you make him have to be the main character, but for a big feature, no. And I know that the reindeer, Sev, or the reindeer, Kristoff, Buddy, or whatever, you make him, no. Yeah, maybe do something with him. No, that seems kind of stupid. There's not enough. There's nowhere near enough material there. Okay, what about the horses? No, that isn't quite right either, really. Okay. Do like a crossover kind of a thing, a crossover princess movie, which I think would be pretty cool with Tangled and whatnot. And she was in as a cameo in the first Frozen film. That'd be cool. If you just say that's just an Easter egg and nothing more, that's just stupid, if you ask me. But anyway, and she did have Rapunzel had an animated series, which honestly I didn't think it was needed really. And oh yeah, there was those rumors going around where they may be rebooting it anyway with a live action movie. That's stupid. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching and take care. Next time, see ya. Oh yeah. Later.